So I have to ask, from our research, we discovered that you run marathons and tower marathons. What do you enjoy most about this? And tell us, how did you get into it?
Right. I think I've been running my whole life.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I enjoyed it already. And I think when I turned 30, on my bucket list was to run a marathon. So I did prepare for a couple of months, hit the first one, and then, you get this adrenaline, and you want another one and another one. And I think over time, you kind of ask yourself this question, do you do it to hit another, a personal best, or you do it because you like it? And I think I do it because I like it. So when actually recently I found out about tower running, and apparently one of the skyscrapers in Warsaw is one of the highest in Europe, I signed up, and it was a new experience. It's primarily in the DNA of Endeavor. That's why I think I feel well in Endeavor, is that we support growth entrepreneurs because we believe they have such an impact on the people who they employ, on their customers, and being at the growth stage, they impact much wider part of the world. So they eventually inspire, mentor, and invest in the next generation. That's why their impact is significantly bigger. They become great angel investors, they become great mentors, they become great second, third-time entrepreneurs.
Hello and welcome back, the Recursive community. My name is Elena Vrabe and I'll be your host today. Our next guest is Bartosz Lipnicki, an entrepreneur, investor, and managing director at Endeavor Poland. With a background in industrial engineering, Bartosz's career trajectory has evolved to encompass sales, business development, and entrepreneurship. He is the founder and managing partner at Alfabeat, a seed fund specializing in enterprise software from Central and Eastern Europe. Bartosz holds a Master of Science degree in engineering from the Faculty of Management and Economics at Gdańsk University of Technology in Poland. He continues to contribute to academia as a lecturer in the International MBA program at the same university. He believes in the power of decentralized economies, and he will tell us more about it soon enough, and advocates for a less bureaucratic, more agile approach to business, especially in the innovative tech ecosystem. Beyond his professional endeavors, Bartosz is an avid marathon and tower runner. Welcome to the podcast, Bartosz.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
So I have to ask, from our research, we discovered that you run marathons and tower marathons. What do you enjoy most about this? And tell us, how did you get into it?
Right, I think I've been running my whole life.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I enjoyed it already. And I think when I turned 30, on my bucket list was to run a marathon. So I did prepare for a couple of months, hit the first one, and then, you get this adrenaline, and you want another one and another one. And I think over time, you kind of ask yourself this question, do you do it to hit another, a personal best, or you do it because you like it? And I think I do it because I like it. So when actually recently I found out about tower running, and apparently one of the skyscrapers in Warsaw is one of the highest in Europe, I signed up, and it was a new experience.
So you go up the stairs and down? That's the marathon?
You run up, and ideally once you reach the top, you can go down by an elevator.
Okay. Oh, okay. Phew. Thank God. Thank God for that. Good. So just like running, your career journey has been quite diverse from what we researched, jumping from industrial engineering to sales and business development, and now entrepreneurship and investing. Can you walk us a bit through all these chapters in your journey?
Right.
So how did you start? You went to university. Where did you go to university?
I think it started when I was a kid. My father started a company. So I literally grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and I think that spirit has been with me my whole life. And so I think that this curiosity, drive for self-development, learning, also the global mindset is the line connecting all those dots in my life, like personal and career.
So you studied engineering. Why engineering?
Is I think back to my father's story, and him starting a company that I was part of, and it's been a very engineering company. We would do a non-destructive examination of metal structures, so like assuring safety exploitation of metal structures, mostly like turbines in the energy industry. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to go to the University of Technology, and I chose like industrial engineering and management. And I think from that moment in time forward, I would more go my path, having this background and history in the family business.
If you were somebody asks you at a cocktail party, and you will get to introduce yourself, what do you say first? Are you an entrepreneur? I'm an investor. What do you say? What's the label that you associate quickly with your identity now?
Right. I feel an entrepreneur and investor. I think I like you saying industrial engineer by education, sales and business development as by career, but I feel this mission-driven entrepreneur.
Okay, so this is written in your DNA from your early childhood, your family, and you bring it in now and you pass it along, mentorship.
Yeah, so during the university time, I brought to my university a local group of Board of European Students of Technology, so the largest student association of students of technology in Europe, where we've been present across more than 30 European countries, and so that was one of the chapters. And later, I actually experienced living and working in 6 countries around the world, spending a lot of time in Sweden as well, and then joined a startup in Sweden, helped expand it to Central Eastern Europe. It skyrocketed. We entered Nasdaq Stockholm, became a tech unicorn, and then coming back to Poland with a set of new experiences. Together with 2 close friends, we started Alfabeat, a seed venture capital fund focused on investing in enterprise software, and over time, making more than dozens of investments, exiting some, deciding not to continue investing. There was an opportunity to bring Endeavor to Poland.
We will get back to it, but let's not jump to it. Let's go through all the phases until we bring to the present. So you've collaborated with various ventures from your story. How has your international experience that you mentioned, traveling to different countries, working in different countries, your leadership style and your ability to navigate diverse business developments? And when you think of answering this, it's also taking into account your technological background. You have the business, but also technological. Traveling, your tech education, and also the business acumen. What are you bringing to now, to Endeavor, but also to your collaboration with entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs?
I'm keen on the Swedish business culture. So like less hierarchy, shorter distance to power. The leader is part of the team. Standing up when it's needed, really, but otherwise being just part of the team. So I think that's been with me. I think I may be one of the pioneers of the Swedish fika in the Polish tech ecosystem. So I really enjoy this. This is a very traditional and popular way of doing coffee breaks in Sweden. So when people once, twice a week during their work days stop to have a coffee break all together and just chat informally, typically without any agenda, not related to work, but just connecting to one another.
So you're not a fan of the hamster wheel, you get on the hamster and you go and move and accelerate, but you also need to take some time. Let's just regroup. We're humans creating human energies.
Yeah, well, at the same time, we're part of the bigger ecosystem that's very ambitious, very driven, and supporting growth entrepreneurs who face so many challenges, we want to be there for them. So I think we feel their pace, which is high
Hamster
growth.
wheel. Hamster
It
wheel.
happens
It's
to
like
be
go,
hamster.
go, 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 go.
Happens to be hamster wheel.
Let's dive a little bit into your investor's role, into mentoring, but with the entrepreneurship cap that label that you keep close. You've been deeply involved in supporting startups and entrepreneurs. What motivates you the most to work with them? Not create your own solutions, but work with other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it may sound a bit simple or naive, but I'm very mission driven. So I really believe in what I do. I don't think I'm a person who works 9 to 5, who just sits at the meetings or stares at the screen. I feel sometimes like the small kid unwrapping a Christmas gift when it comes to endeavor, entrepreneurship, meeting new people, learning about their challenges, opportunities, stories. I think that's something that really, really drives me.
Is there a specific type of niche mission, or is just the entrepreneur? You see his passion and you tap into his passion. I'm curious if you're more looking to support certain missions compared to others.
It's primarily in the DNA of Endeavor. That's why I think I feel well in Endeavor. Is that we support growth entrepreneurs because we believe they have such an impact on the people who they employ, on their customers, and being at the growth stage, they impact much wider part of the world. So they eventually inspire, mentor, and invest in the next generation. That's why their impact is significantly bigger. They become great angel investors, they become great mentors, they become great second, third time entrepreneurs.
It becomes this snowball effect and develops ecosystem.
Exactly. Yeah, we call it a multiplier, which is a snowball effect.
Continuing to dive a little bit into your work with founders, not necessarily Endeavor, but I want to get back to your core, your experience. I'm curious to find out how you work with startups. So, for example, what criteria do you look for when selecting them? One example will be they need to scale globally. They need to have this international vision, or the solution has to tap into that. What other criteria do you look for?
Yeah, investing in startups, there's this great metaphor of horse, jockey, and racetrack.
Okay.
So horse is the company, jockey is the team, is the founder, and racetrack is a market. When you start a company, when it's a startup, it's so much about a market and the wave on the market, and the jockey and the founder's team. Once they build a product, they have customers, they find product market fit, it's more and more about a horse, about a company. But you cannot really do due diligence on the company that's not existing or that just started. However, at the same time, you can do reference check on people, you can verify their prior experience. So previously, before Endeavor, running Alfabeat, investing in enterprise software was so important that people have domain expertise. Since enterprise software typically is longer sales cycles, is approaching larger companies, so you really need to understand how they work. You need to understand the problem you're solving. So typically, as a founder, you would have domain experts. You would have experience in that industry before you start a successful enterprise software company.
I'm curious more about the human side. I have this game with angel investors. Usually it's like true or false, and I'm trying to get through the true or false to their real core, to who they are as a human. Because yes, we as investors, you invest in solutions, in the mission, but working with them, it's not a one-time deal. It's a long-term relationship as angel investors, as VCs. And I ask questions and I'm curious to see how are you with this? So, for example, angel investors are like a business card for VCs. Is it true or false in your opinion? Angel investors are business cards, for a startup, when they're trying to raise funding rounds with VCs? The role of angel investor is so important in a way for early stage?
I may say yes, and it depends. I believe that great angel investors definitely are a reference, and they do a bit of the heavy lifting, especially in terms of the reference. Now, back to once successful entrepreneurs inspire, mentor, and invest in the next generation, and many of them are angel investors. They have huge experience, huge network also. So they typically know where to push, where to pull.
How do you nurture their growth beyond the financial aspect? So it's about the network that you bring, for example, or is the knowledge in a specific sector? What type of knowledge do you bring besides the financial acumen?
Yeah. So at Endeavor, the biggest value is the strength of the network. Yeah, we at the moment we cover 20. I mean, we've been up and running for 27 years. We cover over 40 emerging markets. So such markets where there isn't many success stories. So once you kickstart your company, you find product market fit, and you typically raise some basic venture capital. At your local market, everyone believes you have everything, while you're just starting. You're starting to tap into the global market, and then you're typically lonely. And in your local market, you don't have anyone who's been there, who's done that. So here we come. We listen to the founders. We do our best to understand their challenges, their opportunities, the questions they have, and we look for a good fit or a perfect match. Another founder somewhere in the world who's been there, who understands that segment, that challenge, that stage, and we match them. And that's the biggest value. It's sometimes a short call, or it's a longer meeting, or they become friends, investors, or customers to each other. But it starts with matchmaking and really based on understanding needs on both sides.
What can you tell me about preparing a company for acquisition? A lot of the talk this year in Central and Eastern Europe, it's about having maybe more surprising mergers and acquisitions, exits. How do you think right now should startups prepare for this type of experience journey?
Right. I believe I don't have great experience here. Now, I've always believed that either you acquire or you get acquired, right? I typically, especially try to flip it on the other side, is that as you as a founder, why don't you expand globally, dream big, and scaling fast, consider acquisitions of other companies. Yeah, it actually works both sides. At the same time, we need more exits because we need more people cashing and
snowball.
Initiating the snowball effect. So reinvesting the money, but also experience.
Dive a little bit into this the other way around. I liked that you switched. So what should you, in your opinion, this is like hypothetically, what should you build on your own, and when is it time to make an acquisition in another market? When you're scaling, it's better, like you don't know that market, to go with an acquisition?
I think it depends on what you want really, and what's the stage of the company and state of the industry, right? So you may be able to sell the company after just building technology, or you're having a product, or once the company is big global company and maybe you would like to exit and move out of the business, or there's a competitive situation and you decide that you sell. So it really depends. I remember a couple of months ago talking to Melvin Lubega, co-founder of Go1, first unicorn in South Africa and the largest platform for corporate education in the world. And Melvin was often asked why he accepted valuation of the company being so high. He would always say that his vision for the company and for the education is much bigger than the valuation.
Good. Dream big, right?
Exactly.
Make up your story. I'm curious about mitigating risks with investments from your experience so far. What can you share? What knowledge can you impart? Think about the regional ecosystem community, that maybe wants to tap. In order to grow the ecosystem in Central and Eastern Europe, we need to maybe educate new angel investors, new VCs to understand. So anything you would like to impart from your experience so far as an investor?
Right.
Mitigate risks, because this is the biggest question. How do I mitigate risks?
Well, it's about reference checks. It's about mentoring. So at Endeavor, we call it second opinion review. So whenever starting from an entrepreneur who wants to become an Endeavor entrepreneur, so we're a member of the community, we do a series of reference checks. We typically connect the founder with another founder, so that's meaningful, hopefully to both sides. And actually, one learns about Endeavor, and the other also is a reference. I think in terms of investment, that's very important. Being able to reach out to people who can help you, and that's it's quite known, this theory of 6 handshakes to reach any person in the world. I believe in Endeavor we reduce it to 2. So hopefully this takes less time to reach out to the person you really want to connect with, ask a question, and eventually that person can become your investor, mentor, or customer.
So the key to mitigating risks, it boils down to communication, finding the right person, and being hands-on in a way, becoming a team as an investor with that founder. Is there a particular success story from your work with startups, or even from the Polish ecosystem that you hold dear, that's an example of how things can be done?
Right. I'll start with my personal story.
Yeah.
So and when I started Alfabeat around 2015-16, and the first investment I ever made in my life was investment in the Polish-Belgian team, building technology to predict supply demand for food ordering delivery. And it became a company called Daily. And through actually connecting with different people those days in Scandinavia, Miki Kusi, co-founder of Slash and of Wolt, with Riku Makela, flew over to Warsaw. We had a meeting, and I believe it's the only acquisition they did at that stage of Wolt is they acquired our company. And since we were getting on well with each other, they suggested we could do the share swap and become shareholders of Wolt, which I said yes to. And then Riku calls me and invited me to one of the board meetings of Wolt. So I flew over to Helsinki. I entered a board meeting. I was just guest for maybe 20 minutes, and I meet people around the table. Ilkka Panen, Supercell, Hjalmar Windblad, who started EQT Ventures and previously a few other companies. Laurel Bowden, 83 North, Petteri Kopponen, Lifeline Ventures, and such people. And I spent some time with them and then some time at that day at the company, and I saw Laurel and Petteri working in a room before they would rejoin the board meeting. And I asked them, what you're working on? And they said, we're working on some recommendations to Miki and the management team. And that lesson was very meaningful to me, how you can run a board meeting in such a meaningful way that you have investors really working to prepare, advise you. That's been with me since then. I'm on the board of Intiaro, an early stage company doing visualization and configuration of furnishing sets for large enterprises in the US. So I hope that at least a little bit of that learning is with me, and I can support the founders.
Nice. It's nice to pass it along, that you learn and you're passing it along.
And one of the so there are so many stories in Endeavor, and one of the recent ones is actually from Tunisia. Okay. Probably not many people would think of Tunisia as a tech hub, right? However, we've had Endeavor in Tunisia for several years by now. And there's a founder, Karim Begir, who started InstaDeep around 2015, and he started doing generative AI. And then the company was actually predicting mutations of different viruses. And last year, BioNTech acquired them, publicly known for over $700 million US. And you can imagine how big impact that has on the Tunisian ecosystem. So hopefully Karim is joining Endeavor board to support activities there. And I've heard recently that he's started angel investing. So that inspiration, but also that capability of passing the experience, spending time with other founders, and actually investing is big. And I think we can hear of soon of Tunisia becoming a smaller, bigger AI hub.
Looking forward to following Tunisia's journey in this aspect. You've emphasized the importance many times of networking and building relationships in business. How has networking contributed to your own success? And what advice would you have for aspiring entrepreneurs, the new wave, the Gen Zs, looking to build a strong network now?
Yeah, so I've come across Endeavor through my networks. I was referred to by a few people I knew. So I think I'm a good example, and I feel that can be meaningful. And
what's your recommendation for the Gen Zs to look for the network, to build it up? Why is the network so important? To find mentors that they can find education support, financial support, or just to impart knowledge. Should I do this? It's an investor shared with me that I don't feel making recommendations. I feel like more like a traffic light. I can make suggestions, but you are the helm. You need to make your own decisions.
Right. So recently at Endeavor Poland, we launched the first Polish tech ecosystem map. It's based on over 100 interviews with tech founders, touching over 1,000 companies. And one of the questions and one of the ways founders in the ecosystem would get actually points and be more influential on the map is besides being a serial entrepreneur and a mentor, angel investor, or having employees leaving your company and starting a new business. A part of it is actually mentoring and actually asking Polish founders about mentoring. We got very various answers because people were not very comfortable with that word. It would say, so is it formal or informal? Is it a 20-minute call or 1-hour meeting? Or do I have to sign and be part of a program? So I believe that whenever you connect with another person, and in this case, founder-to-founder connection, and you ask a question that's important to you and you get answer, especially from experience of another person, I would call that mentoring. And I would encourage everyone to do it. So be brave, know what you really want, and ask. Now, other thing is probably prepare a little bit. Yes, if you're reaching out to people who don't have much time, it maybe took you some time to reach out to them, prepare. Typically, what we recommend is a 5-minute pitch about yourself, your story, and what you're looking for.
The CTA, this is the most important part. A lot of mentors, a lot of investors or senior entrepreneurs I hear, they want to mentor, but that the mentee does not know what they need from them. And it's like they can offer a lot of things, but the mentee needs to have a plan. What do you need from me now? That's how they know they're serious. They've done their research. They've planned. They have some business acumen.
Yeah, and one other thing, we actually some of the most influential founders have been founders of Dog Planner, like Mariusz Gralewski, Lucjan Samulowski, Peter Biało, or from Booksy, Stefan Batory, Konrad Howard, Pracuj, Przemek, Maciek, Inpos, Rafał Brzoska, and what they all said is actually they've never been burned out by mentoring, and actually that it's very mutual. So, like Lucek from Dog Planner said that many conversations he would have with Stefan from Booksy or Titus from Tidio would actually, they would ask him questions he would never think of. So he would reflect on them, go back to Doc Planner and be able to implement some of those learnings. I think that's also you have to keep in mind, like go for it, be prepared, and know it's actually mutual.
Yeah, it's a brainstorming session in a way, and in tech and in this innovative ecosystem, it's like you're never not learning, how I like to say. Tell me a personal story about a mentor. You mentioned your father, you mentioned your family being at the core of your entrepreneurial DNA. Can you walk us a little bit through this relationship, what this mentorship meant to you?
Right, I think I've come across many people who shape who I am. Was it like the family or traveling around the world?
Was it a professor maybe? Give us an example of how talking to him made me realize maybe this, X, Y, and Z.
Right. One person comes to my mind is Tobias Jonsson, who I came across in Ericsson. And when I joined a global management program, it was very ambitious and with a lot of things to do, and we were running assignments. I always wanted to do something meaningful, so I joined a team doing enterprise cloud communications, and actually had an opportunity early, very early in the career to face customers and to be part of an account management team. And what Tobias said is actually that your career is a journey, so really enjoy it, but don't rush to the end destination. Just enjoy the ride. And
The waves.
Yeah, it's been with me as well. I'm very ambitious. I'm very driven. So from time to time, I need to stop for a moment and ask myself, am I enjoying the ride as well? Since I'm enjoying doing meaningful things, I'm enjoying achieving things, but am I enjoying the ride as well?
I have to ask, you serve me like in tennis in a way. How do you get off the hamster wheel? What do you do? How do you get off the hamster wheel in a way? I imagine it as a hamster wheel in the tech ecosystem, but also feel productive at the same time. It's not like you can take off 2 weeks and just disappear. It never happens. But how do you unwind? How do you find that it's time to stop now? How do you recharge your batteries?
Yeah, the simple answer is running. That's my meditation. Yes. So I come from Gdańsk, which is a city on the north coast of Poland, coast of the Baltic Sea. So those days I would run along the coast, and now more often in Warsaw in a park. But running is meditation. I used to have this. Now happens from time to time. Whenever I would have a challenge, I would ask myself a question. So treating myself as a mentor to myself, and I would just run. Okay. And then I would forget about it, and next day I would have an answer.
Okay, good method in a way. So when you run, you run with this question in mind. You don't listen to podcasts or music.
No. The best is to listen to the sound of nature, of the park, of seawater.
Tapping a little bit more into the education aspect of your journey so far. So we found out that you're a lecturer in the international MBA program at Gdańsk University of Technology. And I'm curious, what's your modus operandi as a lecturer? What do you bring most? Everybody has this label, a pattern, a story that they keep repeating, to all the cohorts or the alumni. What's your real world experience that you're bringing into teaching?
Right. Is the mix of experiences. Okay. Yes. Is living and working across 6 countries around the world, is experiencing engineering, business development, investing, and it's my way to pay it forward. Yeah, since it's an international MBA, it's an international crowd, so having this global mindset helps. And I really believe in doing that.
I remember a report from Endeavor. It must have been a few years ago, and it was like, what are the characteristics of the endeavor entrepreneur, and one of the things were like he needs to be like over 35. He's not necessarily in his first endeavor. It's not his first entrepreneurial journey, and traveling. All the endeavor entrepreneurs had this in their background. It was like they all traveled either to study, either to work for a few months or a few years. How important is this traveling? Can an entrepreneur be successful without having this like traveling experience?
Last year, our Endeavors Inside Global Research Team published something called Unicorn Founder Pathways.
This one, yes, this is it.
This is
Yeah.
it's quite, and so we studied over 200 unicorn founders from around the world. So all the regions and continents, and looking at what are the pathways, and the pathways that are actually real are somehow different to what we typically think. Like we think that maybe it's good to graduate from an Ivy League university or be a university dropout, while actually majority of tech unicorn founders graduated from the university, but maybe it was a tier 2 university. But like almost 100% of tech unicorn founders had an experience of working, living abroad, so outside of the homeland. And that was very, very strong.
So you believe it's I mean, the results show it's true. You also feel it, like this experience that there are no borders, that we are all pretty much the same. We are not closed in one country. It's like a region. It's like one world, you know?
Yes, it is also building a global company, a global tech unicorn requires understanding what global is. And global is really across countries and continents. That's very challenging. So having that experience of living somewhere else, maybe learning the language, learning the culture, how people behave, how they work, how they make decisions, is very important.
Yeah. Thank you. How do you believe, you mentioned that education doesn't have to come from the most popular colleges. It can come from anywhere in a way. How do you believe education can better prepare students for careers in entrepreneurship and technology, particularly in terms of fostering creativity and innovation when everything is changing? So what I learned in college, like a long time ago, does not apply now, for example. How do you, but I say about myself that I'm always learning. If you're not always learning, education is for life. You mentioned this previously, but when it comes to entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs can be entrepreneurs without a formal education, going through management schools and such.
Probably yes. Now still, but yeah, back to the study they've done university. The majority of them actually have done engineering, some finance. I wouldn't say that that's the most important. So besides technical skills in any domain, you have technical skills. Could be engineering, could be medical, yes, or could be communications and public relations. You have transferable skills. I think those transferable skills are more unique. So skills like fast reading or using your super brain to memorize things. Think how important that is when growing a company, when communicating with mentors, investors, to have good memory skills. You meet many people, and one thing always happens: they introduce themselves, and if you're among many people, your goal is to remember the name, because that sounds more, or that feels more personal. So even before you tap on LinkedIn and continue the conversation, it's good to know that the other person knows who you are, knows your name. So such simple skills even are very important. And I have to mention 3 people that I've come across through Endeavor, not only. One is Marco Fisben, founder of Descomplica. He didn't have that opportunity to go to school or have a formal education, so he started Descomplica, which is online education system in Brazil, which is now already actually accepted by the government, and you can have from elementary education to the university degree in Brazil, coming from a remote area. You just need an internet connection. Another person previously mentioned is Melvin Lubega, founder of Go1, having such a big vision of like helping people learn. And so he's more tapping on the corporate education, but actually what many people don't know, he started investing and setting up private elementary and high schools in Poland. So his vision and his coverage is quite global. And the third person who I came across finding Mind Valley as a platform for self-development and mindfulness, Vishen Lakiani, who's the founder of Mind Valley. And he had that challenge, or he challenged the world, was it 1 or 2 years ago, saying that while higher education is typically 19 years old in a campus for 4 years, just mingling with one another, which probably adds some value, but how would it be if we meet for 1 month every 48 years, different locations around the world, people different age, different experience, some more experience, some less experience? Wouldn't that be very meaningful for the education? And also for the entrepreneurial education, because you could learn something, connect with a mentor, and then you have 1 year to implement it in real life. Coming back to learn again, but also to reflect on what you experienced over the last year.
Thank you. You mentioned at the beginning of your answer, and I didn't want to interrupt you, about like special skills, about remembering people's names. I never remember. I know that's the trick. Once you hear a name, you have to say it 3 times. Like, nice to meet you, X. And what do you do for a living, X? And something the 3rd time. What's your special skill? Do you have a special skill that everybody knows you for it? Do you remember people's names or something, data about them?
Yeah, so also through Vishen Lakiani, I came across Jim Quick.
Okay.
It's a real name of a coach who helps people memorize things. And he always says that practice makes progress. I think it's important we have to practice. And yeah, there are some tricks to visualize the name and to repeat it. But actually at the end is the practice that makes progress.
Thank you. Let's try to focus a little bit on the Polish market and your experience here. And how would you describe the current state of entrepreneurship in Poland? What are like 3 main things that define the ecosystem?
I would say, a combination of like super fast evolution and some external factors helping it. It's called mutations. On a positive side, I think Polish ecosystem is mutating. It's actually evolving, and we've gone through a lot. But I think one of the important things on the psychological level is that we moved from a negative sentiment of like an entrepreneur being this private landlord, or in Spanish language is often called an empresario. We moved to that more positive, that is actually a tech entrepreneur. Spanish has this of emprendedor. So I think that sentiment move is very, very important, because now we believe things are possible and we're working to make them happen.
Is there a specific challenge or even an opportunity, if we want to focus more on that you see in Central and Eastern Europe for the enterprise software companies?
For enterprise software specifically, and also in
general.
Yeah, in general. I think in Poland, but also in the region, traditionally we learned not to trust other people, right? And then once the political and economic transformation happened, there were many opportunities. So people could become and train being very entrepreneurial. So I think the whole region, including Poland, is very entrepreneurial. And now the very needed skills were the technical skills, to be a doctor, to be a practitioner, specialist, to be an engineer. And so on top of that, I believe we lack managerial skills. This is something we can really improve on. And building further, we have a great engineering talent pool. I think is across the whole region. Is how Polish, Romanian, Bulgarian, and regional engineers rank in HackerRank. Kaggle is our data scientists, software engineers, is also as a result of big investment into R&D centers of global companies. So there's also capital and knowledge transfer. Now, what the challenge is great, and usually a core part of enterprise software company is technology that powers product. Now, a challenge is in go-to-market, and that remains a challenge, because building technology, you can build it anywhere, yes, and great company can come from anywhere. Now, if it's enterprise software, is typically applicable all around the world, yes, and if you want to build a good enterprise software company, you need to be ambitious, you need to dream big. So that go-to-market, even going in details, many technologies nowadays, like many AI applications, are very horizontal. Now, still building trust of a specific vertical, having a success story there can help you excel that vertical before you move to another vertical, right? And I think that's very, very important.
Endeavor Poland focuses on these high impact entrepreneurs, the ones that dream big. Can you share maybe some key strategies or initiatives that you've implemented here in Poland to foster growth within the companies you support or you aim to support? Or maybe initiatives that are on the plan you're sharing it the first time with us?
Sure. And Endeavor Poland has been up and running for 1 year and a half, just. We're 4 great people on the team, supported by 11 board members, including Martin Żukowski, co-founder of Snowflake, and the board is chaired by Victor Schmidt, co-founder of NetGuru. We also have 6 amazing entrepreneurs, represented 5 companies, from Spacelift, Silent8, MetaMap, Captchase, and Booksy. And just a month ago, we launched that first Polish tech ecosystem map, which is an interactive map of Polish tech founders. And how we rank them is beyond money. So beyond valuation, money raised, revenue, they get points for the founder-to-founder connections. I think this is one of the initiatives that showcases what we do, but also doing that study and showcasing it, we initiated and created many founder-to-founder connections.
Got conversation going.
Yeah. Now, how we operate on a daily basis, we support growth tech founders. So probably at the moment, the target group is around 10 people, and ambition is to get them, attract them to Endeavor, which primarily means give them an experience of a meaningful connection with another founder. Once it's meaningful to them, probably they would like to join, being part of this community, and then they are served by us, but they become mentors also in the ecosystem. As we said before, it's a mutual relationship.
Do you do it through one-on-ones? Do you do it through events, through travels, so meeting the global network? What's the process?
Primarily, it's one-on-one. However, at the same time, we do small events. We do quarterly board meetings, dinners, and around that, some other events like launching an ecosystem map, like doing a founders camp, or tapping on the Polish tech diaspora, which I think is another trend and opportunity. So many Polish founders moved out of the country, started great companies, became successful, and now many of them come back with their time, experience, and money. That's how Marcin Żukowski from Snowflake joined Endeavor Poland board, or Andrew Shea, founder of Relativity. And I think there are more such people, and the trend is that they actually consider coming back to Poland, either physically or with their experience and their capital.
One important layer of all this networking, all this connecting is the layer of trust. What does trust mean to you? What do you trust in? How do people show they trust?
Yeah, it's probably different to different people. Is knowing, to me, is knowing that you can count on this person, is knowing that their communication is fair and open. And that's, as you mentioned, that's super important. Running and growing a network of trust. Yeah. So any person that actually joins the network, is it as an endeavor entrepreneur primarily, or as more a supporting position in the board or on the team, goes through many reference checks. Yeah, and actually most of the times I meet with the founders and we talk. I listen to them, I hear what they say. I'm actually interested in what their challenges are. So most of the conversation is about them, their lives, their companies. And so from time to time, we end up with, oh, by the way, we were to talk about endeavor.
Yeah, true. This is how you build a relationship.
It's how you build trust, but it's also how you learn about each other. What I say typically, why don't you join one of our events? You see who the people are, you listen to what they talk about, and you listen how they talk about it. That's also very important.
I've heard about the Endeavor network and the amazing things that the network is doing in smaller communities. And everybody says that Endeavor is worth getting off that hamster wheel of go, go, go. And maybe instead of running, join an event and just look and listen and talk. People are different, they're more experienced, but they do make time. Yeah. Time is of the essence.
Exactly. Time is the biggest challenge. I think where we tap on as Endeavor is that 1% of founders' time. Founders at growth stage typically can afford consultants, can afford market research, they hire great executives, they have great investors, and now they are under a lot of pressure. I think it was Miki Kusi from Wolt said that growth is pain. Once you start a company, you challenge an incumbent. So you do things in your way, and you have to learn every step you go, you have to learn. And that's a challenge.
Yep. What have been some of the most rewarding moments for you personally, professionally, however you want to choose? And in a way, how do you define success through these, rewarding moments? Maybe a part of Endeavor in the last year and a half, if it's professionally.
Success, I believe, is this accomplishment of purpose or goal. I think it's feeling good. So I feel good.
That's good.
I'm still hungry to do more. We are very driven. I think one of the experiences in my life that was literally breathtaking and eye-opening was to get a scuba diving license in the Philippines in Southeast Asia. Since one of the assignments I did during the global management of Ericsson was in the Philippines, and together with my boss, Marcelo Galota from Brazil, and his wife, we went through that course and then started scuba diving together. On the other side, I think what I really appreciate, I'm very grateful for, is the people I came across in my life. It's also on the professional side. More recently, my co-founders at Alfabeat and people I work with in Endeavor. It's good to have a team. It's great to have a great team.
True. And you put time and effort and patience into building more and evolving those relationships. Can you tell us a little bit about one goal that you're working towards in your role as an entrepreneur and investor? One tiny thing that it's like, I need to have these little steps to reach that.
Right. It's around the Polish tech ecosystem, right? I dream of a day or a moment when the Polish tech ecosystem will be defined by the founders and their success, just by that, so that we don't have to explain it all around, that it's it's a potential. And in Endeavor, looking at growth founders, I really wish 100% of Polish growth tech founders are part of Endeavor and can make the most of being part of this community. And then literally they start inspiring, mentoring, and investing in the next generation.
Mm-hmm. To close it off with going back to startups and innovative solutions, what developments in the tech startup ecosystem are you most excited about? And how do you envision the future landscape of the entrepreneurial sphere here?
Right. I think previously mentioned that the sentiment has changed for being a tech entrepreneur from like negative to positive. It's actually good to be a tech entrepreneur. We still have a lot to do, but it's already a very positive change. Another thing is that we see more entrepreneurs become second-time entrepreneurs or become investors. In Poland, you have people like Marcin Kurek, who founded Niania.pl and now runs Market One Capital, Borys Musielak, Filmmaster, Smog Ventures, Bartek Pusek, global head of IKEA Digital, turned angel investor, and like one of the first people backing companies like Ramp Network, Storefront, 11 Labs, Tomek Karwatka, Divanten, a great angel investor. So we have more and more of those stories. I think that's very positive, and we need more of those. And also the Polish tech diaspora, born in Poland, usually educated in Poland, but moved out of Poland to start a company, became successful, and they are coming back. That's very, very positive. So even though we have this distance to the Western Europe and to the Western world in terms of tech entrepreneurship, success stories, venture capital, I believe in the next 10 years we'll at least 10x. And at least in Poland, we will see at least 10 new tech unicorns.
You always focus on the people. I see this in all your answers. It's so important. You always focus on the people. And I'm curious, what makes a Polish a Polish? You know, is it resilience? How would you describe a Polish in 3 words? What are the keywords, the hashtags of the Polish, entrepreneur or investor, professional? Is it he's resilient, he's stubborn, he's, I don't know, mission-driven? Give us 3 hashtags, in your opinion. It's a creative. You can take your time. You can drink a sip of water, breathe in. We're getting closer to the end. How would you describe the people? How would you describe yourself? Not the people, just yourself. So nobody will call you, Bartek, what did you say? What are our keywords? Say about you. How do you feel it? You're passionate. I don't know. Give us 3 words.
Just through words is
it's tricky.
Thanks for a good question. Definitely entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial.
We have entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And is it resilient or more perseverant?
Perseverant, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm missing this single word, fighting the status quo.
Okay, yeah. It doesn't have to be a word. It has to be, how do you envision them? Always fighting this.
I don't want to say more, because also one of the characteristics of Polish people, and I can generalize across the region, is that we see challenges before we see opportunities. And at the same time, we're very resilient. We're very resilient. So we can fail 100 times. Conditions are not great, but we stand up and do it once again. Well, on the way, we see 1,000 issues, but we're ready to solve them. I think that's very positive overall. And one to add that actually Polish people build technologies. We don't copy that much. We build own technologies. I think that's the biggest strength of the Polish tech ecosystem, of the well-known founders already like Marcin Żukowski from Snowflake, Andrzej Relativity, recently announced official Polish tech unicorn, 11 Labs. Those companies build technologies.
If you were to think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't know, 10 years is like, we can't even joke about 10 years. Things are changing at such a fast pace. But 2020, 2021, the tech ecosystems were like all about health tech, med tech. Now it's pretty much 2-3 years later. It's still health and med tech, but it's like more involving AI. What would you envision in like 2-3 years if you were to even joke about it? What do you think would be the tech solution that everybody will be talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's changing so fast.
I don't know what exact tech solution will be, but I'm really convinced about that the Polish tech ecosystem will be much stronger in terms of the connections between the founders. So we really will see this inspire, mentor, invest in the next generation phenomenon, and think, it will be described, the Polish tech ecosystem will be described by founders and their successes. Now, I think in a very pragmatic example is at an average garden party, people will be very comfortable joining a tech startup, getting employee stock option plan, because they know that it can be meaningful, because they can meet great people and learn a lot, maybe start another company in the future, and they are able to earn good money.
Thank you. So the future looks bright. The future seems to have all the core pillars of growth right now. Do you think there's a core pillar missing of development of a tech startup unicorn? You mentioned quite everything. Education, there's a networking, there are founders that are giving back to the ecosystem. Poland is ready to mutate, right? To grow to the next level.
We're ready to grow. We're ready to 10x. We're ready to generate new global category leaders, global tech unicorns. I think that what's important over and over, especially in Poland and in the region, is dream big, scale fast, and pay it forward.
And if you're just as passionate about innovation as we are, hit subscribe for the Recursive podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere.